Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 75. I am, of course, Evan Lewis, and I'm joined by Leo Andry.
Hey.
Hey. And Joe Latovsky.
Ahoy.
Ahoy. That doesn't work as well, but I don't care. Alright, so we're back, and we're back courtesy of our patrons over at patreon.com/thejodocast. Still, the reigning, defending best people on the face of the earth. So thank you all for the love that you show us. We appreciate it. And we will be talking with you quite a bit coming up about some things. We'll discuss that in the future. And we also want to remind everyone to go over to jodocast.com. That's where you can find all of our social media links, including links to all of the podcast sources where they can be downloaded other than the website. But most especially, we want to direct you towards our Discord server, because we are on there pretty much, I'd say, all day, every day, with a lot of our listeners. We have lots of great conversations about Star Wars stuff, non-Star Wars stuff, all different kinds of games. So come on over and bring your friends. And then the last thing over at jodocast.com is a feedback survey, and we'd love it if you'd fill that out and tell us what you love, what you hate, and tell us wait, do they love? Oh, they hate. But that's you.
Oh,
everyone knows that.
Sorry.
I'd hate to see what your replies to our survey look like. Yeah, you do that. Well, let's get on with it. Let's talk about what we've been playing. So, Joe, what you been playing? I think we know the answer.
I just got done playing a bunch of Battlefront and unlocked the new Han Solo Hoth skin that I won't use, but I had to unlock anyways.
You had to.
Because, I mean, I can't just have it sitting there not unlockable, since you can only unlock it for a limited time.
It's a matter of principle.
So, Battlefront, I actually played the LCG the other day.
Woohoo, as you should.
Trying to, learn things before I have to judge at Worlds. Because I feel like I'm going to, try and as best I can, but I feel like there's going to be grumpy people at Worlds who are like, oh, they got to judge for the last ever Worlds for this game.
Well, now I'm extra mad that
And I played some Legion, just a little bit of it.
Just a little bit? Not too much?
Not enough, I think is the amount that he played.
Okay. So, is that it then for you? Some Battlefront, some Legion, some LCG like a man, and, okay.
Women aren't allowed to play LCG?
Oh,
yeah.
Now see, if we'd had more women playing LCG, it probably would have done better.
I don't know. Are you sure everyone wouldn't have just been like, they're ruining the game? And
There's too many women in the LCG.
Feel all, like, encroached upon and vulnerable and, like, taking it out in weird ways.
That's just how I feel about Destiny. How about Leo? What's Leo been playing?
Well, okay, wait. Are you saying you
think there's too many girls in Destiny?
I feel like Destiny is encroaching. Yes, Destiny is encroaching upon me.
On your LCG utopia.
Yep.
Okay. Good thing we got that clear, and you weren't like, there's too many girls playing Destiny, and I don't like it.
Destiny's encroaching
Thank you for clearing that up.
On your fantasy land of non-randomized packs.
Oh, it's such a better place to live.
So, speaking of randomized packs, it's not Star Wars, but I decided to play the lottery today. And by play the lottery, I mean I bought a pack of Masters 25.
Did you?
Yeah.
And did you win the lottery?
I did not win the lottery, unfortunately.
I mean, that's a thing you can pretty easily do with that set.
Well, I stopped in at a hobby shop. Like, they're the model train place in town. So I've been going there to buy stuff for like my terrain building. But they also have like a tiny gaming section. So they sell like a few like X-Wing, and then they sell like stuff for some mini games and like a little bit of role-playing stuff, and then they have like some Magic cards too. And I was like, they didn't have the thing I wanted when I stopped in there today, but I was like, I'll throw these guys some money anyways, because I always feel like, I always wonder how they stay open, because there's never anybody in there.
Oh.
So I bought a pack, but apparently they do pretty all right. One of my friends, I guess, worked there like in high school, and like the people who do actually do model railroading are like nuts about it. Like he was something like, there's guys who come, and I mean, they're ordering their little rail cars, like they're looking for specific like serial numbers that are on the sides of the cars and stuff, and I don't know, it's nuts. So I guess they don't get a lot of business apparently, but when they do get business, it must be like guys spending a butt ton of money. Cause they recently moved from the dirt mall in town into, a higher class location. So they must be doing all right if they're able to afford to upgrade their stuff. But, so that's a really long way of me answering the question, what did I play with Legion?
All right.
So there, tangent.
No, that's all right. I mean, that just reminded me of the one like hobby model store I stopped in a couple weeks ago, and I was surprised at how busy they were. There were quite a few people in there, and they had all of the paints and brushes and everything that I was interested in. I didn't get anything because it was very, very, very like inside baseball on the crafting side of things, as opposed to going to like a game store and it's like, here's the paints that you need for painting minis and the very specific miniature focused painting stuff.
Wouldn't
but
that
it was
really
really interesting.
Like inside baseball too, just a different
kind of baseball,
a different league, a different conference.
No, because it feels like the hobby store is much more intricate.
I don't know. I mean, all those kind of, you go to any specialty shop though, and it's gonna feel like that when you're an outsider. I mean, because you talk to some people who are just getting into like the hobby of like comics or something like that, and like I've heard stories of like how they feel really intimidated going to like a comic shop because there's like just this giant wall of comics, and it's the way everything's laid out and stuff. It generally will make sense to somebody who knows what's going on, but sometimes if you're just new and you're like, well, I want to pick up some cool comics, and staff, frankly, in comic shops isn't always the most helpful.
Nope, it's not. But that's a very good point. Yeah, I guess I just feel more in my element at a game store than at a, hobby store, I guess.
Yeah. You go to the hobby store and they'll be like, shut the f*** up, Evan. You're out of your element.
That's exactly what they say. I think I could mentally hear them all thinking that at me. So as far as what I've been playing, no Legion. At all. We'll see if it ever happens.
Why do we even let you on this podcast, Evan?
Because it's my podcast and you haven't started your own Legionnaires spin-off yet. Which if you want to, you two can feel free.
I don't think I'm gonna be like playing this game at the hardcore level that people who need a dedicated podcast are going to want. I'm not gonna like be doing unit breakdowns and like attack probabilities and stuff. I'm just gonna be like, I painted my guys and they look kind of neat and they're gonna walk around on this cool table. Like that's where I'm at right now.
So he could be.
Oh, by the way, I just wanted to say I got killed by someone with the best gamer tag while playing Battlefront today. His name was Jim Urso.
That is pretty good. All right, fantastic. I have gotten to play a lot of Edge of the Empire lately. I'm running a home game Monday nights, so it's a good way to face Monday, because Mondays suck. But when you've got...
Hey, Garfield.
They do suck. Can't argue with that. At least
I
you
really
didn't...
hate... You know, it's kind of a given that almost everybody hates Monday. Okay? But yet you're never allowed to voice that out loud just because of Jim Davis.
Yeah. Or Office Space.
If you complain about Monday, then some assholes are like, okay, Garfield.
Or they're like, sounds like someone's got a case of the Mondays. But yeah, so we're getting to play Edge of the Empire. We've played 2 weeks in a row so far. So this, regular occurring RPG session thing is kind of new to me. So we'll see how long we can keep this up for.
Yeah. Now, how much Yopi feces is in your campaign? That's how we judge quality around here.
Not nearly enough yet, but I'll see to it that the big finale that's coming up is just filled with it.
On a planet made of it.
They're gonna confront the bounty hunter in an EOP poop processing plant. And they harvest it. I don't know.
Maybe it makes good fertilizer.
You know what? I'll bet it does. But yeah, with the Edge of the Empire and the other games that I've been running, I ran, as of yesterday, 4 game sessions in the span of 2 weeks, which I think is a new record for me. So I think that was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe 14 hours worth of running games, not even the games that I played, so pretty happy with that. And I also got a chance to teach Imperial Assault to someone this past Saturday. I think it was Saturday. And it was kind of teaching me, because I don't get to play it. I haven't played it for a great length of time, so it was a lot of me trying to remember things. But, I mean, once we started, it was just like, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense. It's a really fun game. I wish I'd gotten in this sooner.
Were you doing campaign or skirmish stuff?
Campaign, actually. I left out a few things just for the sake of, learning purposes. But, yeah, we did.
How many players did you have?
Just me and one other person.
Oh, were you doing the app? It sounds like the app would be the best way to do that.
I did try the app, and I probably shouldn't have used tutorial, because it was like, here's what these numbers mean. And I was like, yeah, I got it. Thanks. Go. Get out of here. But eventually I was just like, you know what? We're just going to do the first scenario out of the book. And like I said, I left out some things, but for the most part, we played it according to the book, and it went well enough. I think it went well enough that we could potentially get our regular gaming group to try it out, and I hope we do. And I'm getting more serious about getting my paints and getting my paint area ready to go. So hopefully within the next month or so, I will have some painted figures, because I hate them looking all colorless. Nice. Speaking of miniatures, we need our segue music. I don't know what that is yet, but we're going to get it one of these days. Segway.
Can
we just have
That was a segue.
Just like from Wayne's World, where they're like...
There it is. That's it right there. We're going to talk about Legion. Surprise! We're a week out from the launch of Legion, and you two got it, and you've been at least looking at our painting and construction channel on the Discord server. You guys have been busy.
Or our Instagram.
Or our Instagram, yes. Oh, you know what? I forgot all about that. I forgot we had that.
Which...
Because we haven't used it.
We don't use it much, but...
We were using it more.
Yeah, I think we're trying to make... Basically, our painting progress is going up on Instagram.
Nice. So tell us how that whole process has been. I guess before we get to that, you got your boxes. I know Leo got one of everything, and Joe got one of everything?
Except I got 2 core sets.
2 cores, that's right.
I initially got 1 core set and the airspeeder, and then during launch weekend when I was there, I was like buying some snacks, and I was like, do I have like any rewards points here? Because I know I'm in your reward system, but I don't think I've ever looked at it, and I assumed it was just like, you won a free pop because you spent $10,000 here, because that's the kind of reward I might expect. But I actually had $40 off waiting for me, which was a pleasant surprise. So I picked up a 2nd core for $40 off, because I was like, that's the best deal I ever find on this. So I now have 2 cores and an airspeeder, which is plenty for me.
So that's... I was reading a story from a guy who was in a rewards program. Like when he first started shopping at like his local game store, he signed up for whatever the rewards program was, and then promptly forgot all about it for years here until Legion came out. And then he like remembered, checked his balance. He had enough to buy 2 cores and 1 of everything, and that's like he had enough rewards points to like completely buy into Legion and still have money left over for future expansions.
Holy crap. Well, good for that guy.
Yeah.
For forgetting.
Did you have all your parts, Joe?
Nope. I actually have not opened my 2nd core set, which I need to do because I plan on playing on Saturday, so I need to get that open and get some Rebels stuck down. But the ATRT in my core set was missing the right handlebar, which is apparently a common component issue. So if it's in my other one, I'll just stick that on my first ATRT. I did submit a missing parts request, so hopefully that shows up. But...
yeah, I heard today some people started to hear back from Fantasy Flight on their missing parts requests, because unfortunately it sounds like this is like you said, it's been a fairly common problem. I mean, I guess that's kind of a risk we're running for not having these models be on sprues or anything, maybe, but
I was gonna ask about
all
that.
the parts to be missing, the right handlebar on the ATRT is not so bad. It is a little annoying, but at least I saw somebody who had like all left arms for their rebel unit leaders.
Yeah, or I've seen people like missing one of Vader's arms and things like that too, which would also suck. But I was just gonna say, people who have now heard back from Fantasy Flight, I've heard Fantasy Flight right now is saying they're actually out of spare handlebars to ship out to people. So might be a little while before you have a handlebar.
Well, hopefully my 2nd core has one, because if it has one, then I can at least get to like painting on this one. I mean, I can paint without it anyways and just add it later, but...
So, what were you asking, Evan?
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of the packaging, I mean, we've had varying levels of quality when it comes to the packaging, and I, like you were saying about how a lot of miniatures come on like plastic frames. For those listening that don't know how a lot of other miniatures games come, like Warhammer Fantasy and 40K, they come in like an individual miniature, like a single guy might be in pieces on a frame, on a plastic frame from which you cut them. So how are these presented?
Well, you get just a bunch of plastic baggies full of minis and parts for your minis. Most of the minis, like all the troopers, are basically the body, the base, and then their arms that need to be attached. The vehicles are broken down into a few more pieces depending on the vehicle. The number of pieces and stuff varies. But yeah, you just get a bunch of plastic baggies full of all these pieces. And then they give you like each type of mini individually baggied inside other baggies. So when you're all done, you're going to have, although you won't have a mountain of plastic due to, all these sprues and stuff like you would in other games, you're still going to have a mountain of leftover plastic just in the forms of all these stupid little bags.
You can never have too many little baggies when you're playing these games.
I mean, they are.
That's
they
true.
Can be useful. A buddy of mine has been saving all of his little plastic bags from all of his X-Wings expansions that he's bought since the very beginning.
I think I've saved most of mine.
And then here he bought Twilight Imperium 4th edition, which has about 7,000 different types of tokens and stuff in that game. And now he's like, oh, this is amazing. I've actually got all these sweet little bags to keep each one of these different kinds of tokens in. So I guess eventually you might find a use for them, but I'm just tossing them. The box actually comes with an insert in it, which is maybe not 100% useless, which is something pretty new for Fantasy Flight. But yeah, I mean, the insert is kind of nice, but at the same time, it's also...
You're going to grow out of it real fast.
Yeah, like it barely comfortably holds even the contents of a single core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I can fit, if you... Like, I was able to fit all my Rebel stuff in there when I hauled it over to... Except for the T-47. So that's 5 squads of troopers, 3 ATRTs, and Luke. And I was able to fit it all in there, plus tokens and range rulers and dice and stuff. But it's also all just kind of jumbled in there. So, I mean, that's not going to be the storage solution I'm going to be looking at long term.
Didn't you say you were thinking about sticking magnets on the bottom and using like some kind of metal cooking pan? Because that sounded like a great idea to me.
I actually went and I bought at Target here. I just bought it yesterday. A steel baking pan with a cover, and it cost me $10 for the stupid pan. Is all, and that's going to be enough to hold an entire army's worth of minis in there.
Is it tall enough for the ATRT?
It's with the. I'll check right now because it's sitting on the floor next to the table.
This is amazing radio.
It really is. Where's the guy? Hey. Hold on a sec. What? You like
Sounds
that?
like you're just throwing it everywhere.
The lid fell off. Looks like it's just a tiny bit too tall to put the lid on it, but I mean, you don't have to have the lid on it either.
I guess. What if it's raining?
Good point.
Well,
you put a poncho on it. Purple poncho.
Your minis they're covered in paint and varnish, so they'll probably be fine.
I'm excited for our Legion League to start on Monday because it sounds kind of cool. Hopefully I don't have my hopes up too high because I've been burned by the store's leagues in the past by being just too long and time intensive. This says 8 weeks, but every week it has to be Imperials versus Rebels because there's going to be a galaxy map, and every week we're fighting for one planet, and then whichever side reports the most wins that week, because you don't all have to meet at the same time. You can just choose when to meet that week, which is also nice. And so you report, and then at the end of the week, they see which faction won the planet, and then after 8 weeks, whichever faction did the best, he's going to hang that flag in the store. But I think there's still going to be like one person who wins overall. But that sounds fun. Especially because I think like the tryhards are on the rebels, so I might have less competition.
Yeah, we have one starting up at one of our stores next week too, but it's just going to be like a 3-week long free league. Pretty much, I think it's just because the store owner was basically like, I can't wait for the organized play kits to get in. I want to start playing now, so next Thursday, let's go. But he's not doing any like cool special things. I think it's just going to be show up and play a game, and there you go. However, he does have some way badass tables at his store.
They're really nice. The tables at the store I'm playing at are really shameful compared to those ones.
Yeah, like he's really going all in on Legion. He had one of the guys at his store working on Star Wars specific terrain, so you wouldn't have to throw down a bunch of Warhammer crap on your table. He had him working on Star Wars specific terrain for like a month or two ahead of launch.
Wow.
So yeah, on launch day he had a Tatooine, a Hoth, and an Endor table all ready to go at his store. So that was pretty cool.
So we talked about what each of you bought, what you picked up, you cracked it open, whatever issues lay therein, and how your little guy has come. So did you start with just playing? I mean, I know, Leo, you got to do some playing before, and Joe, you'd gotten to do a demo before, but what was first? Was it like cracking it open and like trying to figure out the playing portion, or was it just get to painting?
For me, I've been immersing myself in the rules and the rule book for like the past month or two, however long ago it was that they finally, well, even before they released the actual rules, just like pouring over to all the bits of rules that have been gleaned from watching like Gen Con demo videos and things like that. So from the moment I cracked open the box, I already had a pretty good handle on things. So for me, it was pretty much just get straight to gluing together, and so I can get ready to play a real game finally, instead of just reading the rule book.
Yeah, I just sat down and let my wife punch out all the tokens, because she likes punching out the tokens whenever I get a new game. And glued my dudes down. I dry fitted all the arms. I'm not going to glue the arms until I'm done painting them. But yeah, I just needed to get them stuck down enough where I could actually play with them. And then I played like a 450 point game. During launch weekend, they had us like... Well, I didn't even participate in the tournament. I just showed up and played a game with somebody, and then was like, I'd rather go home and paint instead of sit here for another 5 hours playing a 450 point game. And I still really need to open up my second core and get those guys stuck down so I can actually be capable of playing a full-size game for once.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten a full 800 point game in yet. I played with a friend here the other day, and because like I played like launch weekend was all the, like you said, the small like 450 point games.
Yeah, here we are. Whenever we both finally get to play an 800 point game, we're gonna be like, done with this game. It takes forever.
The other day I played at a buddy. He, like, the biggest army he could make was 700 points with what he had bought so far. So I put together a 700 point game, and so I got to play through that mostly. I think we made it through round 4 of 6 before my kids were no longer having it, and I had to bring them home and get them to bed.
Well, isn't round 6 the end anyways?
No, I said round 4, didn't...
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I said round 4 of 6.
Oh, okay.
So still not quite a whole game, because we didn't get through all the rounds of scoring, and didn't quite have a full army's worth of units out on the board either. But it was fun to finally get to play with a lot more than you got in the demo games. It feels, because that's the problem with the demo games, is you don't really get a feel for the command phase really. In the demo games, it doesn't really have, the command phase doesn't really have a ton of impact on the game at all.
Yeah, usually even if you have some tokens face down or in a bag, you know what's in that stack anyway, so it doesn't really make it random.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, in the demos, like, when one of your units dies, you're like, oh, that was like a fourth of my entire force. So whenever we get up to 800 points, that won't be as devastating. Although that's one of the things that's, like, sad to me. I'm spending all this time painting these dudes, and they're going to be gone once I start playing like that off the table.
When I was playing my bigger game, I got so mad because I ran out with one of my ATRTs, and then my buddy was running Imperials, and he had one of his squads had the rocket launcher, one of his stormtrooper squads, and he managed to roll straight up 7 crits. Or well, he rolled he rolled 4 crits, and then he had 3 more hits that he got to convert with his impact. So he had 7 crits. And I only managed to, out of all 7 of those, only managed to roll 1 block. And, so he killed my ATRT in 1 shot right there in the very first, in his very first activation of the game.
Wow.
So that was
okay.
Shitty.
Yeah.
For me.
It was great for him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's gonna make he's gonna hang on to that for a while. So he can have that one, right? He'll just bounce back. Yeah. So it's been constantly working on your things, or has it been mostly just when you have time, or is this like you come home from work and it's just paint until it's 4 a.m. and then you wake up and go to work and come home and paint some more? Or are you actually
trying to paint as much as I can, but I've been busy with other stuff like recording podcasts and trying to unlock the Han Solo skin in Battlefront.
Oh.
I've painted a total of 1 trooper, my ATRT, and a barrier.
Okay.
I've got a bunch more stuff primed and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm painting super slow. It's also partially because I'm trying out a couple different techniques and stuff on the troopers here to try and decide how I want to paint some of the colors and things like that. So
yeah, I've got 1 squad of troopers close to done, but I'm just trying to decide how I feel about the color scheme overall. I might have to wait until I'm totally done highlighting to see how it looks, but I keep trying to figure out what I want to do with the next squad and the next squad. Are they all going to look similar but different, or are they all going to be wildly different so I can try different stuff? I don't know. Like, does it look... I would imagine it looks kind of cool if all of my people have a uniform color scheme, but I don't know how much attached I am to the color scheme I've gone with.
Yeah. I kind of
like orange and gray and green and tan.
I kind of liked your idea of doing kind of like different squads based on the color palettes of different Phoenix squad members. That could be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm still leaning on. Especially, I was thinking of doing because my first squad is sort of based on Chopper. I don't know if that comes across very well. I might after I do the highlights, because there's a lot of gray on my people, and Chopper doesn't actually have that much gray on him. But I think for my second squad, I might try and go based on Hera, which is just going to be brown, orange, and like really light tan. So it's going to be very similar to my current squad, but it'll be like Hera, and I might, put in some little tiny highlights of really bright green.
One of the minis that you were showing on Twitter and on the Discord, and actually you had been talking about what you were going to do with Luke on the Discord leading up to this, and then you did it once you got it, and that was to really mod him out. Like you added, was it just a cloak or a cape or something to it? And I want to know the story behind that.
Yeah, I really wanted to give him like a cape or a cloak or a poncho or something, and it turned into like a cape with a hood, I guess. I don't know, is that a cloak?
I think that is
it doesn't
technically
have sleeves. Don't cloaks have sleeves?
Do they? I wouldn't have said so.
I don't know. It's like a cape with a hood that I made out of green stuff.
What green stuff did you make it out of?
It's literally called green stuff.
Oh,
it's like,
okay.
There's this yellow putty and some blue putty, and you take some and you mush it together, and it turns green, and then you can work with it and sculpt it.
It's just like the chewing gum bombs in Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Just don't chew it.
Uh-huh.
Hasta lasagna, don't get any on ya. Great.
And then once you sculpt it, then you just, in 24 hours, it'll harden and set and stick to your mini. So I just made a cape, and then it took forever to make a hood, because I don't know how to make a hood. But I got one that didn't look terrible, so then I put that on, then I primed him up and painted that. And then I replaced his lightsaber with an acrylic blade, so it catches some light. Which
is something that you'd been doing previously on the Imperial Assault, right?
Yep. And I based him so it looks like he's on crate, and I'm trying to decide if I want to do that for all of my miniatures from this core set.
Yeah, I thought for sure you were doing like Luke from the cover of Storms of Crate comic book.
I mean, it kind of looks like it, but I mean, just for his outfit, I just picked these same Chopper-inspired colors, which was like tan and green and gray and orange. Mm-hmm. So he's just got like a green shirt and tan pants. And I did mod one of the Duros in my squad. I gave him like little goggles that are supposed to look like Chopper's head, like goggles with 3 little eye holes.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. I like that too.
I like the Twi'lek. That turned out pretty good. Although I haven't seen like a real close up of it, but
if I end up making one based on a squad based on Hera's colors, I'm gonna be like, why didn't you put the Twi'lek in Hera's squad? But my Twi'lek is blue.
So if
George Lucas would be like, why did you put a Twi'lek in every squad?
Now he'd be like, why is that Twi'lek wearing so much clothing? So it sounds like at least Joe has already started doing some more serious modding, not just, far out color schemes, but actually adding to and changing the miniatures. Leo, is that on your docket to do any serious alterations?
I don't know about any real super serious ones. I mean, I've done some real minor stuff. I've shaved down the pegs on some of my troopers' arms when I was assembling them, so I could kind of position their arms a little bit differently. Especially on the rebel unit leader. I don't like how his gun is just pointing directly at the ground, because when you glue him on the base, his gun is almost touching the base too.
I think I'm going to, if I base this guy on crate, leave a little red trail behind it. So it looks like he's been dragging his gun through the salt.
Get some red weathering powder to brush on the tip of the the gun.
Yeah. I've been thinking of going to a pet store and trying to find some red fish tank crystals, because I'd like some tiny little crystals poking out of the ground on maybe the ATRT's base or something. Not that you really see that on the outside of crate, but I can make crate how I want it.
You should just grow your own like sugar, like rock candy crystals.
Science lab things.
Yeah, or get some of those. Yeah, those little science lab kits, and then.
I was thinking of digging through my old Wizards of the Coast miniatures and seeing if there were any aliens with heads that were large enough to maybe replace a head on one of my troopers or the ATRT. Like if I found a Bith that had a big enough head, that might look cool. Because the Wizards of the Coast miniatures are so much smaller than these ones. Most of them, it wouldn't work. And I don't know if I could bring myself to cut up any of them anyways, but...
Maybe you could go buy some spare Imperial Assault. Find someone who's like selling their collection or something and then chop the heads off all of those dudes. Although there's not like a ton of aliens, is there? I mean, there's like...
That could be a Rhodian, I guess. That could... Because the Imperial Assault ones are smaller, but they're only just barely smaller. Mm-hmm. So you could probably get away with that.
I don't know. I don't know if it's barely, but they definitely are closer than the Wizards ones. I saw a guy who took like some like rat dude from 40K, the head of some rat guy from that, and stuck it on one of his troopers, and said, "There, I've got a Ranat trooper now," which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I thought about leaving one of the arms off the unit leader trooper and replacing it with like a droid arm from a WotC thing.
Oh, that'd be pretty neat.
It's got like a robo arm.
I saw somebody who took the unit leader macroscope arm, the one with the binocular things, and he put that on his ATRT pilot instead.
Oh.
Oh, can you put the ATRT guy's gun on the unit leader so he's dual wielding A280s?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what he did.
That's kind of cool. I might do that. I'd have to like shift the arm though, so they're both pointed straight forward.
Like he's just running like ah.
I really want to. So the guy with the Z6, the big rotary gun.
Yeah.
If you look at him without his arms attached, he's in this really funny pose where his legs are kind of bent and spread really wide. And I wish I could like find two arms that were just kind of spread out, like almost like a shrug or like in the air, or like a Zoidberg waddle type thing.
Well, maybe somebody will be. Who knows? I'm sure someone is going to craft some of their own to put on their guy. I'm not that good at sculpting. I'm a terrible sculptor.
No, I'm good with capes, because capes are easy. You make a flat piece, you stick it onto him, and then you ruffle it, and then it looks good.
I don't know. I'd probably find a way to cock that up too. Like seriously, like all my 3D art classes were like all the ones that I barely passed in art school. Like I took the bare minimum of 3D classes that I had to for requirements for my major, and then said F off and never took another 3D art class again because I'm terrible at it.
So have your stores? I know you'd talked. Well, we had talked offline. You might have mentioned it earlier too about leagues starting up, and I know that the competitive scene is certainly going to be a big component of this. We've talked about that plenty of times, and it was mentioned by Alex Davia in your recent talk with him. But has there been any new news? Do your stores know anything yet about like organized campaign? Oh, I guess you mentioned the organized campaign a little bit ago, but
yeah, it's like a league.
Okay. But yeah. that's more of a competitive rather than like any sort of story driven.
Yeah,
thing.
there's not a so the way the organized campaign stuff is gonna work is a lot of like the organized play kits are a lot more casual than with the other games. Basically, you just have to show up and play, and you get the stuff in the kit. You don't have to come in first place or whatever. Like, so the first kit's prizes there's going to be, an alt art card like there always is. And then there's also going to be 13 of these acrylic commander tokens. So, like right now you've got the cardboard tokens, and then you've got commander and the core. And
are you sure that because you'd need 100% of your tokens to be acrylic.
Yeah.
If you're going to use them. I didn't think.
Yeah. No. I know. So you'll get this first one and just not be able to use it.
Oh. Okay. I thought it was like a different extra even more useless token, but if it's that and you just can't use it for a while.
Yeah. I mean, because at first I was thinking maybe it was a misunderstanding and it was going to be a full set, because there's 13 tokens that are coming in the kit, and if you add up a full army, with the exception of, because you can have 2 commanders, 2 heavies, 3 supports, and 6 core units, and then I'm not counting special forces because there's none released yet, but all that adds up to 13, so I was all like, oh, maybe it's a full set of tokens actually, and then whoever wins the event gets the tokens. But no, it specifically says in the article where they talk about it that it's basically you show up, you play a game, you get 1 token, and that's it. So I'm guessing that but it sounds like they're going to put out kits more frequently than...
Yeah, it sounded like once a month.
Yeah, or once every 2 months, I think, because it sounds like this first kit is going to have 2 different scenarios in it, and the store is supposed to run 1 scenario for a month, and then you run the second scenario for a month, and then I would assume then the next kit will be out after that. But I'm assuming they're still gonna do store champs and regionals and things like that, so I'm sure will still be more competitive kits and things like that out there as well. I'm just not sure how much I'm looking forward to a tournament day of the game, because it's not going to be a short game. I'm guessing tournament legal games will probably end up being similar length of time to Armada, which I believe is 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I forget exactly.
I think it was 2:15.
Which that's gonna make for a very, very long day. I mean, I already got exhausted playing competitive X-Wing events by the end of one of those, and those were only an hour and 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing tournaments beyond store champs and regionals. Otherwise, I'll just stick to league where it'll be 1 game. I think I want to do more than 1 game in a day unless it's special occasions.
So, looking at games like X-Wing, you had to oftentimes buy outside of your preferred faction in order to get cards that you needed for optimization. And with 40k, things like that, you can easily stick to one side because everything you need is contained just on the one side. What's it look like on this side? Am I going to need, on Legion, am I going to need to, well, not me, since I probably won't, but if someone wanted to stick to one side, just Imperial, just Rebels, how easy is that actually? We've talked about it a little bit before, but practically speaking, how easy is that?
So far, it seems like it's actually super practical, which is a big relief, because, like you said, in all the other Fantasy Flight games, if I only wanted to play Rebels, I'd be missing out on all these cool cards that only come in Imperial or Scum packs. This time around, you could buy only one faction, and there would be nothing in another faction that you needed that you couldn't get by just buying your own faction. The only hang up I had for a little bit was because they sell the trooper and vehicle expansions separately, and those include cards that don't come in the core set, even though it's just more cost effective to buy a second core than those expansions. The cards that come in those expansions will be coming again later in the snow troopers and fleet troopers. So I'm fine with waiting a couple months to get these cards and getting them in an expansion that I actually want to buy. So it seems like it's actually going to be consumer friendly this time.
I know when I got to talk with Alex Davey, I asked him the same thing. I said, I see that at least so far with the expansions that have been announced, all the upgrades seem to have, there's a parity between both factions. And I said, is that something that we can keep looking forward to as the game goes on? And he said that, yeah, you know, that's maybe kind of a lesson he learned a little bit from X-Wing, and, you know, this game's a little bit different beast than X-Wing. Just in general, the cost is a little bit more. And so they really wanted to make sure a person can just stick to one faction. And it sounds like, you know, going forward, that's going to be the case still. Alex did say that cards may not be always released at the exact same time. You know, like, so, you know, they might come out with an Imperial expansion and there's a, you know, some kind of like a new grenade upgrade or something like that. You may have to wait a little while, but you can rest assured that down the road here shortly, there will be a Rebel expansion with that same grenade.
Yeah, it looks like, at least so far, what we've seen as far as announcements, this game is going to be like coming out in like distinct waves, like a lot of the other ones do. They're just coming out as soon as they come out. So it looks like we're getting like Veers and Snowtroopers before we're going to see Leia and the Fleet Troopers.
Yeah, Veers and Snowtroopers look like they're coming out here in April at some point. And then people are assuming then we'll see Leia and Fleet Troopers in May. Then there's the objectives and extra barrier packs that they announced, which then lead people to believe that'll be June. And then the Han Solo and Rebel Commandos that were announced here at Adepticon, most likely July, assuming they keep to like a monthly schedule. You know, things might get pushed out more, so where Han ends up being more like August or September, who knows. But speaking of Han, holy crap, he looks amazing.
His gameplay?
Yeah.
Because his sculpt looks kind of constipated.
Yes, it does.
Okay. You know, I looked at some of the pictures that like Team Covenant had of it at Adepticon, and I think the sculpt looked better from some of the angles they were taking it, so than it did in like the official article. So I don't know. But I do agree it doesn't look the best. And it's really like just the head, like everything from like the neck below looks amazing on that.
Right.
On
it
that
looks
mini.
like he's like hunched, like or something.
I don't know. I think actually for me, I think it's the hair. Like the hair looks really, really off on him, and maybe it was just the way it was painted. I don't know, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see when we actually get the unpainted mini in our own hands. But like gameplay wise, yeah, he looks really awesome, and I'm gonna look forward, I think, to running Han and Leia together in one army, because both are really cool, but Han especially is really, really cool with his like his being able to fire twice in one attack ability, and then his one command card, the Sorry About the Mess card, that has no pips on it, so it always goes first, and then also gives him an aim and a dodge token. It's it's nuts.
And I take it he's also much more affordable and usable than Luke. Although I don't know how Luke compares in cost. I know Vader's expensive.
Yeah, Vader's $200. Luke is oh shoot, off the top of my head.
Looks like $150.
Yeah, I was gonna say
or $160.
Yeah, Han is $120. At least the that's the cost on the promo card that they gave out at Adepticon. But apparently, since between the time when they printed that and Adepticon actually happening, they made some changes to Han already. So it sounds like the promo cards they gave out at Adepticon aren't actually accurate for some of the stuff. So I don't know if his cost might change between now and release. And then Leia, I think was 80 or 90. I forget exactly. So she's a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But you could run Leia and Han together for the same cost as Vader. And I don't know. For my money, I think that both of them are going to be more effective than Vader. Vader can be a beast when he gets up close, but he's just so damn slow.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like in that how to play Vader video from FFG. They said, like, yeah, he's great when he gets right smack in the middle of a group, but it's going to take him a while to get there.
So, it's not that he's bad per se. It's just it takes him so long to get into the fight that you often feel like he's maybe not quite worth all those points.
You gotta wait for the scooter upgrade. That you can, like, give him a little scooter that he can ride into battle.
Yeah, or when they add like vehicles that you can hop into and ride around the battlefield into the game, maybe. That would be cool.
That'd be cool if there were skiffs.
But yeah, and I think he kind of restricts your list building a bit too, because between Vader being so expensive and the ATSDs being so expensive, you know, it's hard to justify running both of those, and definitely never not.
Okay, great. In that case, we've already done the housekeeping, so we'll just say goodnight or good morning or whatever time of day it is. Insert after good. And
scoot on, noodle scooters. Do we
that's our sign off.
Scoot on, wayward son.